Hey football fans, buckle up because with just 2 days to go before the 2025 NFL Draft, the atmosphere is electric and the rumor mill is in overdrive. There's a whirlwind of speculation surrounding the top picks, and some serious behind-the-scenes discussions are taking place. The second and third overall picks are drawing a lot of attention right now, with reports suggesting that multiple teams are actively trying to move up the board. Whether it's a push for a defensive powerhouse like Abdul Carter, a dual-threat superstar like Travis Hunter, or even the explosive running back Ashton Gentry, teams are definitely eyeing the top tier with ambition. What's fascinating is that both the second and third overall picks appear to be in play. Teams holding those slots seem open to trade offers, especially if the deal includes enough firepower. The team with the first overall pick has made it clear they're staying put, which likely means they've zeroed in on a specific player, rumored to be quarterback Cam Ward. So the real chess match begins right after that at picks 2 and 3. Here's the thing, Ashton Gentry, for all his talent, might not be seen as worthy of a top 3 selection, especially when compared to players like Carter and Hunter. If a team does trade up to those coveted spots, they're most likely aiming at one of the defensive juggernauts. The logic is simple. If you're making a high-stakes move, you want a player who can immediately elevate your team on day one. That's why Gentry, although talented, might slide a bit, unless a team is specifically looking to address the running back position and is convinced he's the missing piece. Now, what's really stirring up excitement is the possibility of an unexpected shakeup in the first round. Whispers from various front offices hint at potential trades, though it's still unclear whether it would be the second or third pick being moved. There's also growing interest in the 5th overall pick, which currently belongs to Jacksonville. That slot could become a hot commodity if teams believe they can land a game-changing defensive piece like Abdul Carter without paying the price. To get all the way up to pick number 2, Carter's name keeps surfacing for a reason. He's seen as a transformative presence on the defensive line, someone who can immediately turn an average front into a ferocious unit. So if Jacksonville sees the opportunity to add someone of his caliber while still sitting at 5, they might not feel the need to move. Still, the potential for trade remains alive, and as we've seen in previous drafts, nothing is off the table. Looking at the draft value chart, which assigns points to every pick based on historical performance and perceived talent drop-offs, the second overall pick is valued at around 717 points. The third pick comes in slightly lower, at 514. That might seem like a big gap at first glance, but many analysts believe the difference between those two picks this year is much smaller than in previous drafts, with Cam Ward expected to go first, and Hunter and Carter considered elite prospects. In their own right, the talent pool at the top is unusually tight. So when teams evaluate the cost to move up, it becomes a matter of fit and need rather than a huge drop in quality. If a team is looking to trade down from one of those high spots, they're not going to settle for peanuts. Typically, you'd expect to get a future first-round pick in return, especially if the team moving up is desperate for a quarterback and knows they won't land Cam Ward. It's a gamble, though. Giving up a future first-rounder only makes sense if you believe your roster is built to win right now. Otherwise, you could find yourself in a tough spot next year if the season doesn't go your way and you end up giving away a top 10 pick. Take, for example, a team that finished with just 5 wins last season. They might look better on paper than their record suggests, but if they're not sure they can make the leap to playoff contention, trading away a future first could backfire badly. You don't make a move like that unless you're confident your new addition is the missing piece that gets you into the postseason immediately. Of course, there are scenarios where moving up makes perfect sense. A team picking 10th might package their current pick, another second rounder, and a future first to climb into the top 3. In return, the team moving down might receive not only those picks, but potentially a third rounder as well, depending on how far they drop. These deals are complex and high stakes, but they're exactly the kind of drama fans live for during draft week. Let's shift focus now to the players driving all this buzz, starting with Travis Hunter. This guy is a unicorn. He plays both sides of the ball and does it at an elite level. Last season, as a receiver, he hauled in 96 catches on 121 targets. That's nearly 80%, which is an incredible rate at any level, let alone against top-tier college defenses. He's agile, has elite route running ability, and can make defenders miss after the catch. Sure, he's a bit lean, weighing in around 188 pounds and could get bodied by bigger corners, but his versatility makes him a nightmare for opposing coordinators. And on defense, he's just as special. His instincts in zone coverage are next level. He reads plays like a seasoned pro and has the quickness to close space in a flash. And there's a real debate over whether he should focus on one side of the ball at the next level, but even if he only plays 70 to 80% of the snaps on defense and a smaller share on offense, he's going to be a game changer. Now, let's talk about the pass rusher making waves. Abdul Carter. This guy's a beast. Last season was his first playing full-time on the edge, and he absolutely dominated. He racked up double-digit sacks and had one of the highest pressure rates in the country. People are comparing him to some of the league's premier edge rushers. And while that might seem like a stretch, the tape doesn't lie. He's explosive, has great bend around the edge, and keeps improving. Carter might not be your prototypical edge rusher. He's about 6'3" and 250 pounds, but he moves like a linebacker and hits like a freight train. He's not just a pass rush specialist either. He's disciplined against the run and shows good awareness in space. For teams needing help on the defensive line, adding someone like Carter could shift the entire identity of the unit. Imagine pairing him up with someone like Montez Sweat on the outside while rotating big bodies like Gervon Dexter and Andrew Billings on the inside. That's a front seven capable of wrecking games. And with another young talent like Austin Booker developing in the background, the depth and potential are off the charts. Another player getting plenty of attention is Ashton Gentry, the dynamic running back who's been climbing up draft boards. Thanks to an impressive final season. While his name has come up in top 5 discussions, there's still hesitation about whether he truly belongs in that elite category. His production has been undeniable. He's explosive in space, possesses great balance through contact, and has the ability to break away from defenders with ease. 2 years ago, he made waves as a receiving threat out of the backfield, and last season, he proved he could carry the load as a runner, racking up yards with consistency and flair. But even with all that, there's skepticism about selecting a running back that high in the draft. Teams have become more cautious when it comes to using premium picks on that position, especially when there are players like Carter or Hunter available who can anchor a defense or add dynamic versatility on both sides of the ball. Gentry might be the best in his class, but unless a team has a very specific need and believes he's the perfect fit for their offensive scheme, it's hard to imagine him going before those other 2 top-tier prospects. In a more realistic scenario, Gentry could come off the board around picks 5 or 6, especially to a team looking to add speed and versatility in the backfield. A franchise that already has a power runner or a solid offensive line might see him as the ideal complement to open up the playbook and take pressure off their quarterback. But moving up into the top 3 just to get him? That would be a bold move. And one that might not sit well with fans if other elite defenders are still available. Now, when evaluating these top prospects for a specific team, especially one that's coming off a disappointing season, the decision becomes even more layered. This is not just about raw talent, it's about fit, impact, and immediate contribution. That's why, for a team looking to make a playoff push, grabbing an edge rusher like Abdul Carter might be more valuable than drafting a multi-position player like Travis Hunter or a skill player like Ashton Gentry. Defensive improvement can often turn a team around faster than an upgrade at running back, especially when the defense has struggled to apply pressure or stop the run. What makes Carter so appealing is that he addresses a direct need. He's not a luxury pick. He's someone who steps into the locker room and makes your defense better on day one. You put him on the edge, opposite someone like Montez Sweat, and suddenly offensive coordinators have to adjust. They can't double team both edge rushers without leaving someone else exposed. And that kind of matchup nightmare is exactly what struggling teams need to become contenders again. On the other hand, if the goal is to move down and accumulate more picks, a team might be eyeing someone like Gentry as a target while still trying to gain draft capital. Let's say a team trades back to the 5th or 6th pick, collects another second rounder, and still lands Gentry. They could walk away with a new offensive weapon and additional chances to shore up other weak spots on the roster. It's all about balancing the risk of missing out on top-tier talent with the reward of building depth and versatility. One hypothetical scenario that keeps coming up is whether a team would be willing to give up next year's first rounder to move into the top 3. It's a risky proposition, no doubt. Unless you're confident that you're going to win 10 or 11 games this season, giving away a future first could come back to haunt you. If your season goes sideways and you finish with just 7 wins, you might have just handed another team a top 10 pick. That's why front offices have to be absolutely convinced that the player they're targeting is going to be a game changer, not just a solid contributor. The caution here is valid. Last year, we saw a team that looked like a potential playoff squad fall apart after a rough mid-season stretch. Injuries, coaching missteps, and chemistry issues led to a disappointing 5-win finish. On paper, they had talent, but things didn't come together. That's the danger when you mortgage the future for the present. If the coaching staff isn't locked in, or if your quarterback isn't ready to take the leap, it can unravel quickly. That said, not every risk is a mistake. For teams on the verge, those that feel like they're just one player away, a bold move can change everything. You draft someone like Hunter, who can give you quality snaps as both a receiver and a cornerback, or someone like Carter, who makes your defensive front instantly better, and suddenly you're looking at a very different team. Those are the kinds of players who justify giving up next year's pick because they bring immediate value that goes beyond stats. They bring energy, leadership, and playmaking ability that can spark a turnaround. So it all comes down to how a team evaluates their own timeline. If they believe they're a year away, maybe they sit tight or even move down. But if they think the moment is now, if they're ready to take that leap, then going all in for a top 3 pick might be the right call. Still, it has to be the right player, one who doesn't just fill a need but elevates the entire team. As the draft draws closer, the pressure builds. Decisions that have been months in the making are now just days from becoming reality. The war rooms are buzzing. Scouts are making final pitches. General managers are working the phones. And fans are refreshing their feeds every 5 seconds, hoping for that one piece of news that gives them hope or sends them into panic mode. With talent this deep at the top, it's easy to see why teams are tempted to move up. The real question is who will take the leap and who will sit back, play it safe, and hope their guy falls into their lap. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a shocking turn of events, wide receiver Justin Jefferson, one of the most dynamic playmakers in the NFL, has been traded to the Chicago Bears in a move that has sent ripples throughout the league. Jefferson, who had been a cornerstone of the Minnesota Vikings offense since being drafted in 2020, will now be lining up at Soldier Field in a dramatic shift that has Vikings fans fuming and questioning the direction of their franchise. This trade, which came as a surprise to many, sees Jefferson move to the Bears in exchange for multiple high-value draft picks and a package of players that bolster Chicago's offensive depth. The decision is seen as a gamble by the Bears, but one that could pay off in a big way considering Jefferson's reputation as one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. His ability to stretch the field, make contested catches, and change the game on a single play makes him an ideal target for the Bears as they continue to rebuild their roster around quarterback Justin Fields. However, the mood in Minnesota is far less optimistic. Vikings fans are in disbelief over the trade, and many feel betrayed by the team's front office for letting go of their star player. Jefferson had developed into the heart of the Vikings offense, setting records and earning Pro Bowl selections in each of his first few seasons. His connection with quarterback Kirk Cousins was one of the most potent in the league, and many believed he would be the centerpiece of the team's offense for years to come. The timing of the trade raises even more questions. With the Vikings, in a competitive NFC North division, losing a player of Jefferson's caliber could seriously hinder their chances of contending for a playoff spot. Many believe this move signals a shift towards a rebuilding phase for the franchise, one that may take years to recover from. For Jefferson, the move represents a new beginning and a chance to write his own legacy in a new city. Chicago, with its storied history and passionate fan base, offers him a fresh challenge. The Bears, having struggled to establish a high-powered offense for years, now have a legitimate top-tier weapon in Jefferson, who could help elevate their offense to new heights. The Bears are hoping this bold move will transform them into a true contender in the NFC. As the NFL world processes this unexpected trade, one thing is clear. The Minnesota Vikings are in for a tough road ahead, while the Chicago Bears are betting big on their new star receiver to turn their fortunes around. The rivalry between these two teams, already heated, has just reached a new level, and fans on both sides are eagerly awaiting the next chapter in this dramatic story. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.